one of the discussions we sought to have with you today is first and foremost on, of course, this afternoon, right when you were about getting here, the Reverend Osu Bempa, whose premises were attacked, and by some people who were unhappy with his prophecy about the chief imam. Today met the chief imam. He went with the ram. The idea was that he was going to visit him. He didn't apologize to the chief imam. He only said that they wanted to collaborate more and engage further. Was it a step in the right direction?
Well, why only the chief imam?
Because the chief imam is the one that who had people defending him and seeking to destroy properties for on behalf of course, he has said that he never instigated that. And people did not say that they went to do that because of the chief imam. But these were purported Muslim youth.
Well, I would think that if he has done that for the chief imam, then all the others whose names have been mentioned, he should do the same. And if he thinks that the prophecy is wrong, he should rather apologize to the people. Because sometimes we can be wrong as human beings.
Okay.
So if you prophesy as a man of God and you begin to go by the other side, then you are telling Ghanaians that you were wrong.
Okay.
I am not saying he is wrong. I don't want to make that statement here. But if he thinks what he did was wrong, he should then apologize to everybody and make the same amendment with every other person who has been mentioned that is going to die. But I think it's a good direction. It's better. So as he has started this journey with the chief imam, I want to see him the next day with the vice president and President Kufuor and wife and all those who have been mentioned. But I think it's better, and I thank God for that move. I recommend it.
Okay, I think it's a good move.
Yeah, I recommend it.
The element of prophecy is still being debated in this case. So from now onwards, what do you expect of the Bishop Osu Bempa? What do you expect that? How should he conduct himself so that we don't get to this point again?
Raymond, I don't want to single out Bishop Osu Bempa.
Okay.
He's one out of thousands of prophets in Ghana whose prophetic mandate is not in consonance with the word of God. In the word of God, we had prophetic ministry in the Old Testament. It is completely different from the prophetic ministry in the New Testament. In the New Testament, I don't want to spend time with the Old Testament.
Okay.
They have the 5 gifts mentioned are apostles, prophets, pastors, evangelists, apostles, teachers. They are to prepare the saints for the work of the ministry. So their ministry is to the church, to prepare the saints, the people of God. And their prophecy is for edification, comfort, and encouragement. So prophecies are not to create panic, fear, confusion, and tension. So New Testament prophecy is not like the Old Testament prophets who were condemning and judging and pronouncing death, blah, 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 blah. These days, prophets do not operate in that realm. In the New Testament, it is for encouragement, building, and motivation people of God to serve God, not to condemn somebody somewhere who is doing his own thing, pronouncing his death and judgments. It's had nothing to do with New Testament prophecy.
I'll come back to you, but let me read a couple of messages that come. Mostly these are on the earlier conversation that we had. Emmanuel Okra, and this is on our Facebook Live. You can also join us there if you're not watching. Now, Emmanuel Okra Boate says, the politics of Namwan and Men's Gold saga. The issue on hand regarding victims of Namwan and Men's Gold is that investments made in the named company have gone under. The victims have lost their investment, and we need to help them recover. And that's basically what you're saying. With a lot more, I need to move on to Phyllis. Okay. Now, this one is from Ibrahim Gaiba, and it says, well, Namwan, I'm really sad for this man. May God help you back, put him back on his feet. Customers should take heart and we'll pay them. And that is what is being said by Ibrahim Gaiba. Now, there is this one which is being put out there by another person on this one. This is Teacher Constitution. We are Mwase from Teacher Constitution. It's good that court has ordered the arrest of Namwan, but the customers should stop putting unnecessary pressure on the government. The NDC don't have any moral right to talk about this issue because they did more harm than good to the Ghanaian people when they were in power. This one is Mr. Lawson. Next is your saga. Okay, so, well, that's that's also being said. John Tado said, why should government use taxpayers' money to pay investors of men's gold? It doesn't make sense. And Arthur Robert said, number one, wherever you are, may God strengthen you. I'm really sad for what is happening to this man. Those who were hailing him are now calling for his head. I'm praying that he will pay his customers. God, Ghana youth will continue to be slaves to foreigners in this case. Maybe I think the very last set of messages. Kwabena Boateng says, NDC should explain why men's gold started under their watch. And Joel Adama said, toothless oversight institutions, and said that is so sad. So do you think that going forward, we have this reform that we want? You talk of an institution that's supposed to be improving, that's supposed to be making inroads in there. In fact, today, the chief amongst people also made similar calls. Are you convinced that they will heed to it, that people will be engaged in this practice?
About our institutions?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I've always quoted President Obama when he came to Ghana that we need strong institutions. In Ghana, we rather multiply institutions. We keep adding and multiplying, and they become weaker and weaker because there are too many, just like what someone was saying on the television. So we need institutions that should work. So not necessarily having multiple institutions, but people who will be there, who will be able to accept blame, and who will be able to accept whatever people will do against them, but make the institutions work.
Now, you asked that, in this case, I was actually talking about the churches.
Okay.
Are they going to heed your call? Are they going to, do you think that after what's happened to Bishop Osubempa, we are now going to have the space sanitized, for lack of a better word?
As for the church, it's the same thing, that the Constitution gives people freedom of worship.
Okay. And
so everybody can worship. And people come out and say, we are pastors. I've always said that we have GPCC, NAC, Christian Council, and other institutions where we have peer review mechanisms, where we have internal mechanisms to discipline or direct one another. But there are other people too who are, I will call, free range. They are not under anybody. They are not under anyone's authority. So as a GPCC president or Assemblies of God General Secretary, I am limited in enforcing any disciplinary action on him. This brings the question, do we need a broader law like the PNDC law 211? I will say no. But probably the various Christian institutions should come together, get a certain law to back us to do some things that will help. Not like the Rwandan one, but at least there should be some limited authorities given to the various religious bodies to be able to bring sanity, because freedom of worship, and we use this freedom of worship even to abuse people. See how sometimes how the so-called men of God abuse and exploit the weak people in this country.
Okay, now that will sound interesting to me too, because I mean, all of this is supposed to make Christianity and the other religions stay better. But let me move on to a topic that you and I have been having a conversation on for some time now. Now, how far with our quest? Today there was supposed to be a demonstration against the National Cathedral. Apparently the demonstration was postponed. How far with our quest to make sure that we build this cathedral?
Well, by the grace of God, we are going far. We have been able to work on the pre-design processes, and we have been able to launch the fundraising. At that program, the president was able to share his vision and his commitment and his passion. Okay. And most of the Ghanaian community, Christians particularly, have really come on board. And we are moving forward. I mean, the last time I was here compared to today, I've seen that many people are now on board. Yeah, there are more people supporting it? More people. And those who were opposed, have they backed down their claims? You see, I have a picture. I do not focus on negatives. I focus on positives. I don't even know those who are opposing to it because I'm not looking for them. Okay. Also, I never heard that people were even going to demonstrate. This is the first time I'm hearing. Oh yeah, they were actually supposed to do it today. I mean, they may be there, but I'm not focusing on them. I'm focusing on those who are for it and those who are expressing more interest and desire and wanting even to give to support it.
Because to all of this, the national clerical will be required. So how much was raised at this fundraising?
That will be in the hands of the fundraising committee.
Oh, you don't have it?
I don't have it.
You don't have the figure there?
Yes.
But the president committed some 100,000.
Yes, and I tell you, we were expecting 1,000 people, and the tickets were almost oversubscribed. And even people who could not come still redeemed their pledges, and many people donated. I mean, so it was a good sign. Ghanaians showed a goodwill that night to tell the president and the world that they are for the National Cathedral. Even non-Christians, some of them were there.
Have we still settled on the location bit?
The location bit was settled before the thing was announced.
The
because he cut the sword on during his inauguration. Okay. We have unveiled the thing, and I think the plans are being drawn based on the location. And the president said during the lunch that it is the place that the Lord told him that it should be built. And of course, the location is proximity to Parliament House, is proximity to most of the national institutions. It's going to be added. It's going to be one of the national icons. And the location for the president, there's no argument or no debate about it. It is settled.
The same place around Ridge?
The same place.
But the place is not completely clear.
Yeah, it's a process.
Okay. So when do we know it's going to be cleared?
That is not in my hand.
Okay.
But I know it's a process.
Do we know when this institution is going to be built?
What I know is that we've done the pre-design stage. We are now on the design stage. Probably by the time we finish the designs and the costings and sign the contract, the land will have been free for us to build it. As probably by the end of next month, by February ending, the picture will be clearer.
Is that when you are starting or when you know you will start?
When we will know we will start.
That's by February ending?
By February ending.
It's taking you what time?
Well, there are two ways of building. Somebody will cast one block and start the building, and 10 years it will not finish.
Okay.
Someone will prepare himself or herself and start a building, and within 6 months he will finish. So the time of starting is not as important as the time of our finishing. For us, we believe that we don't want to start and then within 5 years we are changing the things. We really want to mobilize ourselves with the resources and everything so that when we hit the ground, probably in less than 18 months or 15 months, we can tell the Ghanaians, that this is your national cathedral the president dreamed about.
Now, there was a case filed by Kwabena Boffe.
Yes.
Is the case still running in court?
I think so, but it hasn't affected us yet, since we are still on the pre-design stage and we haven't even, we are now moving to the contract stage. It is still in court, and we are praying that the good Lord will be involved and help us to win the case.
Okay, well, but it's interesting. I mean, this is a man who's saying that it's not the state's business to put any pursuer into helping the building of any national cathedral. In fact, he believes it's a case of circular thinking as a state, as the Constitution mandates us to be. You have openly opposed this.
You see, when this man says this, it's childish. He is here. Every year we send a lot of people to pray in Mecca. He has not seen that the state has been doing it. He was here, a land was given at where? Kaokudi. He didn't see the state being involved. He is here every year during, they call it Barakasara, I can't get it right. Government giving cows and goats and sheep. I think I respect him. I respect him. He's expressing his opinion. So let the courts judge. If the court says that it is purely religious and the government should not have any place, we cannot challenge our courts. If the court says that there's a way out, I will leave it to them. But for him individual, he's trying to be a hypocrite and playing a political trick. If he's here, I'll tell him that he's a hypocrite. When did he see this thing? Over the years, people have been going to Mecca and other things. Government has sponsoring other religious things. He never saw it, but when we started the National Cathedral, he raised up and said that government cannot do that.
But it's possible that he can have views now that were not his views previously, isn't it?
Yes. We grow.
Yes.
And as we are growing,
and perspectives improve or get worse.
And I like people like that. In fact, I'm not against the court case. This will be a test for the future, and probably for lawyers, it will be a case they will refer to in the future. Okay. So let us wait. So, like, if you know you are on the right path, you are not afraid of things like this.
Okay, that's interesting. Now, if the court case is to the point that government should not be part of anything to do with the cathedral, will that stop the building of this cathedral?
I don't know. But you see, it is government who has had this vision, and he has called us to support it.
I see.
And he believes in the rule of law. I would want to say that when the court gives a ruling, President Akufo-Addo will be the person who will make the decision.
Who will obey this particular one. But any decision may affect this cathedral and this building.
Well, if you are going to do, if you are going to fire, you don't think of losing.
I get your point.
I will not even think about that.
The other side, yes.
I'm only seeing one thing, that the court will rule and God will reign and the cathedral will be built. As for the cathedral, for me, I only see one thing.
Yeah.
I only see the cathedral being built.
I get your point, but we were just talking about you and I, and you made reference to the fact that people are complaining that priorities of the state should not be bailing out banks and also going ahead to bail out customers of men's good. Don't you think it's equally the priority of the state to concentrate more on school building rather than the cathedral? Can't it be the same argument that will suffice in all of these cases?
Well, you see, I intentionally brought it because I've already dealt with this very well. When you are dealing with people, there are certain things that touches their emotion and touches their sense of wealth and sense of being. And religion is one of them. So having about 70% of Ghanaians being Christians, for government to do this, it might cost us financially, but emotionally, the healing, the joy, the wealth, the acceptability cannot be measured by money. That's why sometimes the government spend money to support football and other things, paying for them, even paying for supporters. It is human beings. There's a psychological side, social, religious, spiritual. And the social side of it, for the fact that 70% of Ghanaians can say that this is a man who thinks about us, who understands us, who feels for us, that kind of thing, the sense of wealth, the acceptability, the wealth cannot be measured in terms of cedis and dollars.
But Reverend, this same argument can be made for the people who walk out there on the streets who went to cry before the men's good officers, saying that we need interventions on this matter. We need government to step in and help us retrieve our monies. They will equally have peace of mind. Some of them say they cannot sleep for God knows how long. All of these people will require some form of intervention. I'm just asking whether, if you think they don't deserve it, whether or not having to put it in or having in any way to support the building of a cathedral is worthwhile.
I am not saying they don't deserve it. I'm not saying it's not the government who should pay for them. What I'm saying is that the guy is alive. He's got properties. They are around. Why don't we, and they have started, probably when they are able to get hold of him, value his assets, they may get something to compensate them, if not all. So I'm not saying government should not listen to them. If you saw my argument, I was saying that they even need to apologize to the populace for allowing this thing to go on at their full glaring. And now that this thing has happened, they are coming to say, we warned you, we told you so. This is bad governance. You know, sometimes I'm very, very passionate with my words as a father, as a husband. If I see my son driving recklessly, I will not sit down and say, I told you the road is bad, oh, Kofi, if you don't drive well, and then the accident happens, I told you so. I will park the car, I'll take the key and tell Kofi, you are not driving.
That's what government should have done.
Oh, yeah. I asked for that. I'm very clear about that.
But we've not heard the Christian community on this matter. It's a national big issue.
You see, there are certain times you don't rush to speak. You wait to learn, to understand the dynamics, so that when you speak, you can speak clearly. Like I was telling you, I only heard about men's gold less than 2 months ago or 3 months ago. I saw the sign, I didn't understand it, I didn't know about it until one day somebody told me that there's an institution called men's gold. If you put your money there, you get them. And I said, no, it's dangerous. Because I have taught people as a pastor that the higher the returns, the riskier, whatever, the investment. So for me, if I had known this, I would have even stand in my pulpit to preach against it. I would have told people not to go for this cheap money. If I had known, I would have done that.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
But that would be destroying somebody's business.
No, but so should I tell my people to go and sell cocaine? To go and sell apetashi? That's illegal. No, I'm telling them that is destroying somebody's business. I'm sad that I'm saying that comparisons, yeah. The analysis might be too harsh. But this was too much of a cheap money. It wasn't fair. It wasn't right. It was wrong.
Did they rise up to the level of greed? This included Christians.
Yeah, if Christians will do these things, then it is not fair. Bank of Ghana is giving treasury bill for 13%. Banks are run something more or less. And I think the whole thing was illogical. When I heard it, I said, even gold market was falling. Where was he buying galamsey money, gold or what? Where was he exporting the gold? Where was he keeping it? So the whole scenario was, to me, when I heard the story about just 2 minutes, I knew that it was bad.
It was a terrible deal. Can we stop this country from having similar policy schemes in the future?
I wish we should make a law to stop these things and allow only the banks. Some of these scams should be stopped to safeguard others. And like I'm saying, Ghanaians should be proactive. Pram came. With Pram, I never heard it until it went.
Oh, really?
I never heard the name of Pram. You have been
out of the policy schemes industry for a very long time.
DKM and the rest, I heard it when it has already collapsed. And this thing too, I think we should, the system, especially the banks and the SEC, and of course all the other people who are involved should make strong laws to discourage people from engaging in such activities.
Reverend Prophet Paul Manson, I've run out of time, and as always, I'm pleased to have you with us here. Thank you so much for joining us here. Hope you'll be checking up on the Cathedral and see how far it goes.
Yes, I'll inform you every time about the Cathedral.
Okay, thank you so much. Well, folks, that's where we end today's edition of Upfront. My guest has been the Reverend Professor Prophet Paul Manson. Earlier, we spent some time on the latest happenings on the face of men's gold. Thank you so much for being with us on Upfront.